States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now that we have the recording officially in place, I call this meeting of the UDOT Commission today, Friday, August 16, 2024. The time is exactly 8:38. And I would like to also remind everyone, this is a live stream on youtube.com/UtahDOT. We're going to start our meeting with the introduction of the commission, followed by UDOT family. So to my left, please start, and your jurisdiction, please.
My name is Commissioner Brad D., and I serve all of Utah. Just happy to be here. Thank you.
Commissioner Kevin Van Tassel, I'm a commissioner at large for the state as well.
Commissioner Jim Evans, and I actually represent Region 3. Welcome to our region here today, and I live here in Utah County, so it's great to be with all of you.
Commissioner Lou Kramer, I live in downtown Salt Lake, but when I cross that border, the air is cleaner, the thinking is great. It's an honor to be in Utah County, and I have my grandson, Josh Kramer, a young incoming freshman to BYU, here to show my strong devotion to Utah County. Pleasure to be here.
I'm Commissioner Rhonda Menlove. I represent Region 1, Northern Utah, live in Garden City, and I'm delighted to be here. Thank you.
And my name is Nagi Zanadi. I have the privilege of chair of the beautiful, wonderful people in the commission. And I'm coming from sunny and cool St. George. We may have soon have our Commissioner Gardner online. She's on her way to join us soon, hopefully. Carlos, would you please introduce our UDOT family?
This microphone doesn't seem to be working. Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, Carlos Maceras, I'm Executive Director at Utah Department of Transportation. Would you like us to begin the roll call?
Lisa Wilson, Deputy Director, Engineering and Operations.
Ben Hewitt, Deputy Director, Planning and Investment.
Let's start Heather here.
Heather Barthel, Commission Assistant.
Ivan, well, let's start right here.
Eric Mason, Region 3 Program Manager. Eric Razvan, Region 3 Project Manager.
Boyd Humphreys, Region 3 Deputy Director. Rob Clayton, Region 3 Director. Wyatt Woolley, Region 3 Communications. Andrew Jordan, Region 3 Public Affairs.
Kirk Dornock, Region 4 Director.
Ivan Arnold, Financial Program.
Paul Ebert, Region 1 Program Manager. Tom White, Region 1 Director.
Lynn Yoakum, UDOT Hydrologies. Lisa Zundel, Region 2 Deputy Director.
Edward Duray, Region 2 Program Manager. Jeff Day, Region 2 Planning Manager.
Parkins Mohammed, Project Development.
Sutton, Project Development Deputy.
Shelley Peterson, Port Lake Reservation. Anna Lang, Port Reservation.
Peter Asplund, Policy and Legislative Affairs.
Wade Elder, Policy and Legislative Affairs.
Golden Miles, UDOT Traffic City.
Grant.
Graham Potter, UDOT Communications.
I think that's it.
Thank you. And I would like to also recognize our fellow partners right now. Let's see, Brigitte Mendel, welcome. I don't know, I still see Ivan's here. Okay. Thank you. And now also UTA partners, thank you. And they will have the opportunity to introduce themselves and give the annual report. Let's see. Welcome to beautiful city of Provo, the best performing city in USA, right, Mayor?
Absolutely.
And soon to be the home for the largest sport complex Is it in the universe or the nation or is it in the world?
The galaxy.
It was originally named Timpanogos. And later on, 1849, the 33 Mormon families arrived and named it Fort Utah. And then, of course, that didn't last because later on, in 1850, it changed to Provo, named after the Etienne Provost, who was the French-Canadian trapper who lived in the area. That much I know, Mayor. The rest is up to you, so would you please come forward and give the State of the Union address?
Galaxy, state of the galaxy.
That's a pretty phenomenal introduction. Let me just, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sandy, are we good? I don't think that it's on yet. Is the green light on? If the green light is on, I know this room so well, and we have amazing microphones, so I know when it's working and when it's not. There, that one's, oh, they're on now. We've got them going now. So, good morning. It's really exciting to be at this side and not that side. Our form of government is the strong mayor form of government, so the city council is the legislative body. I'm the administrative, so Carlos is hovering in my little seat over there, taking care of it, and it's really nice to have you here. Welcome to Provo. We are so proud of our community. Chair Zanotti, members of the Utah Transportation Commission, Executive Director Carlos, Braceras, and the UDOT professional staff. Provo City is pleased, I'm just going to turn this volume down too. Provo City is pleased to host the Utah Transportation Commission in its new state-of-the-art Provo City Hall and Public Safety Building. This 5-story, 204,000 square foot building was completed on time and within budget in 2022 and is the first net zero government building in the state. Our whole goal was to do that so that we could lead it out and be an example to other government buildings. I have always enjoyed my association with the commission, and I've known several of you personally for many years. I understand the challenges of your position in addressing the transportation needs of the entire state. Thank you for your public service. We value our relationship with UDOT, Carlos, and our Region 3 Director, Rob Clayton, and his team. We meet monthly with UDOT Region 3 leadership, and we appreciate their partnership and professionalism. We are grateful for the following 2 projects currently under construction in our lovely city. The first is US 89 State Street, 300 South, just this way a couple blocks. It's a reconstruction project from 5th West to University Avenue that will improve safety, mobility, and active transportation. All the things we love. The second project is US 189 University Avenue and Canyon Road intersection reconstruction project that will make this intersection safer for all users, especially pedestrians. For those of you that don't know Provo as well as I do, it's up across, it's right by the old Provo High, and BYU is across the street, and it used to have this kind of weird, like, whole angle this way and that way, so we're teeing it up to make it safer, and especially the pedestrians, because there was a big announcement BYU made recently, and they own the old Provo High site, so there's going to be a lot going on there. We needed to make it safer for all the students. This project is a public-private partnership with UDOT, Provo City, and BYU. While future projects are planned for Provo, 2 other projects are urgently needed. The first is SR 114 Geneva Road from Lakeview Parkway in Orem to Provo Center Street. Geneva Road has completed its EIS, and the Federal Highway Administration issued a record of decision on October 3rd, 2009. The EIS is still valid, but it may need to be refreshed. The EIS shows a 3-lane cross-section with shoulders, curb and gutter, east side sidewalk, and west side trail. This project is essential for our safe routes to school, for our school children on the west side of Provo, and north-south mobility. Geneva Road serves as a regional alternate route when I-15 experiences an accident between Provo Center Street and Orem University Parkway, which is 3.4 miles away. The second one is the I-15 southbound off-ramp at Center Street. The Mountain Land Association of Governments, or as we call them MAG, recently completed a safety action plan. Funded with a grant from FHWA's Safe Streets and Roads for All program. This plan shows that the high injury network and the I-15 interchange, including Center Street from Geneva Road to US 89 State Street, which is 5th West, you're looking at right there, as one of the segments identified in this plan. The plan aims to reduce fatalities and serious injury crashes by 50% by 2015. We need your help to achieve that goal, and redesigning that southbound off-ramp to be safer will help us to achieve that goal. Enough business, because nobody likes to talk business, we just want to visit and get to know each other. So I thought at the end of this meeting, it would be really exciting and fun for us to host you. We hope that you enjoy your visit to Provo. And so afterwards, we invite the commission and the UDOT staff and anyone that's here to the Mayor's Terrace upstairs for BYU mint brownies and creamery ice cream. I know, right? And they taste even good at like 5:30 in the morning, I promise. But with a Diet Coke. Thank you for your service to the residents of Provo. Especially thank you for your support to me as the mayor of Provo. I value our relationship and I value your hard work. And all of Utah appreciates your dedication and hard work. So thank you and welcome to Provo.
Thank you, Mayor. So now the ice cream section, do we have a choice at the Grand Canyon maybe?
I hope we got that one.
Just kidding.
Oh, Vern made the list. It's all Vern's fault if he didn't get it.
That is my wife's flavor, so thank you. At this time, I would like to also recognize our other commissioner joined us, Natalie Wagner. Commissioner, would you please introduce yourself and tell us about the trip to Europe? No, just kidding.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry I'm not present. I actually showed up at the UDOT offices this morning. Who knows what I was thinking?
I heard.
Got in late last night. But happy to join you remotely, which was the best option. And I represent Region 2 Summit, Tooele, and Salt Lake counties, and excited for the conversation today.
Thank you. Welcome. And I would like to also recognize the rest of the dignitaries from the city of Provo, the county, Utah County, anyone, the mayors and council members. So thank you. Thank you for being here with us and supporting us. Yesterday, for those of you who joined us in the tour, we had a wonderful tour of the community and the projects. Region 3 and Region 2, wonderful job. Thank you for all of you. It's just amazing to see how much money is coming to each community. Until you see it, you don't know the magnitude of the dollar. But those projects is wonderful, and thank you for cooperating together, Region 2 and 3, to get that projects done. Now we're going to have a local area presentation. Rob, yeah, I can see you coming, and he will be followed with Andrew Jordan and Eric Mason. Send that over.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be with you. This is a wonderful opportunity, beautiful morning to be in Provo. You can see from the Mayor's presentation why we enjoy working with Provo so much. No matter how difficult the issues are, we always find a way to solve those issues, and it's fun. And so we just love Provo, and we love being here. The theme yesterday on the tour, there were a couple of themes, but the biggest one was growth. And Utah County is experiencing tremendous amount of growth. And we were in the northwest part of the county, but truly that growth is everywhere. And addressing that growth is a big challenge. The commission has been very generous and very attentive to those needs. And this morning we're going to present to you an update on our large projects that are spread out throughout this county. And my team will be doing that. And I'll turn the time over now to Andrew Jordan. He's going to review the projects that are in the northwest part of our county.
Thanks, Rob, and good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commission. I first want to say thank you to the Commission and the leadership in UDOT for the recognition of the needs in Northwest Utah County, which I am the project director over a series of 5 projects that we have planned. We got to tour those in that area yesterday, and we got to see firsthand the growth that we're experiencing there. For those of you that weren't able to be on the tour yesterday, we're going to give a quick summary of the projects. So on the map, you can see the projects. I'm going to go through kind of calendar or order in the way that we have these planned and how we are planning to deliver these projects. The Mountain View Corridor piece in orange, orange-ish red from 2100 North up to Porter Rockwell is currently under construction right now. That is a greenfield project that is establishing a freeway section between 2100 and Porter Rockwell Boulevard as part of the Mountain View Corridor program. That project is currently planned to complete construction in early 2026. While we're under construction there, we are currently in the design of the Pioneer Crossing Flex Lanes project. That design we were able to start earlier this year. We plan on advertising that project early next year, beginning construction next year, and moving forward with that being completed with full flex lanes operational in early 2026. We have also started the contract development and initial design for the design build project on 2100 North. We plan on releasing that request for proposals in April of next year, with us selecting a contractor in the winter of 2025 and starting that construction beginning in early 2026. And then the final set of projects we're investigating delivering both of those projects together. We looked at those. It's continuing Mountain View Corridor from 2100 North down to SR 73, developing a system interchange there at 73, Mountain View, Pioneer, and Mountain View Corridor South, as well as building the freeway section from Mountain View Corridor out to Eagle Mountain at Ranches Parkway. Those are the major projects that we're delivering, and the impact that these projects will have in this area is unmeasurable, right? As a resident in that area, the ease of access that this will provide is immense. But thank you. Eric?
Good morning, Commissioners. Happy to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to present. We have a lot of excitement in Northwest Utah County. Andrew talked about it. We looked at it yesterday, but the rest of Utah County has a lot of action too, so we'll look at some of those projects. First off, we have a funded project in Payson for a new interchange. Thanks to the Commission for approving the $95 million funding in the June Commission meeting. This was a Senate bill appropriation in 2023's legislative session. It was contingent on a sizable right-of-way donation, which has been accomplished. The project will install a new overpass interchange just north of the existing Payson Main Street interchange, about a half-mile north. Eventually, it will be a full system with frontage roads and a connection between the two interchanges. Right now, we're only going to construct the green portion that's shown on the map. So a new new road, Nebo Beltway, that'll extend from the new overpass down to SR 198. And then the north ramps from the overpass. Part of that will be realigning the railroad tracks, UTA railroad tracks on the northwest side of I-15. This new Beltway drive will allow for tremendous economic growth for Payson. Also allows traffic from Benjamin and other areas to not have to go through downtown Payson to access I-15. So this is a great project. And we know about all the growth in northwest Utah County, but probably not far behind it is all the growth in southern Utah County. When I-15 went in, Spanish Fork, Payson, and San Quin and the other surrounding communities were pretty small, and they've grown tremendously. There's a lot of pressure on the existing interchanges to get the traffic from those communities onto I-15. So this is the first of many that we expect. Next, we have a railroad consolidation project in Springville. There are currently two railroad lines that run through this section. It's at 1600 South in Springville, the Union Pacific Tentic line and the Union Pacific Sharp line. So if you see the map on the right, the green represents the new consolidation of those lines. And then the blue railroad line will go away. So we're going to remove 6 at-grade crossings. The green line will be the future UTA front runner corridor to the south part of the county. This project's currently in design. It's a $24 million estimate, and we plan on a 2028 construction. Next, and closely related to that project, is the Springville 1600 South interchange. This project has 3 phases. The first phase is along in construction now, where it installed the earthwork for the ramps to the north, the southbound off-ramp, the northbound on-ramp. The second phase just started construction. It'll install the roadway improvements between I-15 and existing railroad tracks, and then a new grade separated overpass over the railroad tracks. So that's another railroad crossing that we plan to, at-grade crossing we plan to eliminate. And then the third phase will install the roadway improvements from that railroad crossing out to the east to SR 51. Our next project is 1600 North in Orem. Recently, there was a jurisdictional transfer of this road from Orem City to UDOT. We plan to widen 1600 North to a 5-lane section from 1200 West, so just to the east of the freeway interchange, all the way to State Street. There will be extensive active transportation improvements, also extensive right-of-way utility impacts that we're dealing with, and the project's currently in design. We expect to advertise and go to construction next year. We currently have $38 million of funding on that one. The State Street project from American Fork to Pleasant Grove, this one's been around for a long time. We had significant delays due to the railroad and right-of-way costs exploding in this area. A few years ago, we got funding to do the full project, and then those railroad delays didn't go away. So we decided, rather than delay the whole project, we would split it into 2 phases. So phase 1 will improve, or is improving, the intersections at 500 East and State Street and at Pleasant Grove Boulevard and State Street. And then that's currently in construction. We expect it'll go into early next year. Phase 2 will provide all the improvements between those 2 intersections, and that's currently in redesign, our design, and we're expecting a 2026 construction if all goes well there.
Eric, can I interrupt?
Yes, sir. I think we are. I think we're trying to, we have many, we reach out to the owners along the corridor and the tenants as much as we can. We have ample opportunity. We have websites, email addresses, hotlines. So hopefully we are achieving that goal. I know I get a lot of, when I was the project manager for this project, I had a lot of contact with the public about it. So we do our best to keep those communication lines open.
I know we do, and that's really important though, because they know how to find our
Yeah.
projects on the website.
They absolutely do.
Keep it up and keep it fast, so thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Mine is unlisted, what are you talking about?
I'm sending them all to you right out. But
So-
they know how to, I live in the northern part of Utah, so I know what to find me. Anyway, but that is important, obviously, it's, you know, anytime there's a railroad involved, we have to have, thank you for the communication, so we're ready for the citizens.
Absolutely, Commissioner Kramer, thank you for that. Next, I'll talk about a few future project needs that we expect to come along. So the last few projects are funded or projects already in construction. First up is the I-15 Center Street interchange. So like I mentioned earlier, when I-15 was built, these were small communities. Not many interchanges were installed on I-15. Now this growth has come in the south part of the county. The existing interchanges are really choked down, especially during peak hours. So this Center Street interchange will help relieve some of that pressure on US 6 and the Benjamin interchanges. This is currently an environmental study, so we don't have funding for construction or final design, but it is a phase 2 long-range transportation plan project, so we're looking at a 2033 to 2042 construction horizon. Similarly, Santaquin, a new interchange in Santaquin at Main Street. Also an environmental assessment and a phase 2 project. We expect to finalize the environmental assessment document in early next year. And then finally, we completed an environmental assessment of the Pleasant Grove Boulevard interchange in 2023. This is a phase 1 project. This represents our biggest need in the region outside of Northwest Utah County. It isn't currently funded, but it is high on the priority list. It's been climbing the rankings. So about a year ago, the commission approved a significant right-of-way purchase for corridor preservation in this area. So we own all the right-of-way we need on the northeast side of the freeway, and most of what we need. So this on the other side. So there aren't a lot of obstacles standing in the way of the construction of this project. Any questions? All right, thank you.
I just wanted to just say, I guess growth's a better problem to have than not growth, but thank you for I actually have an office there at the Pleasant Grove Boulevard, and we know, we pray morning and night that it'll be taken care of. We know it will be, so thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Mayor, I just added up. Northwest Utah County, you get 1.5 billion with the B.
I know,
The rest of the county is getting $500 million with the B.
those are big numbers.
So I'm sorry to say the brownie and just the one scoop of ice cream is not gonna do it.
We will make sure that you get as many scoops and brownies as you want.
And also just want to remind you, as a heads up, Mary Danes from Bogan offered us Aggie ice cream and the Cache Valley cheese. Just in the bin. Just
Not as good, just gonna tell you.
Next item on the agenda is a public comments. At this time, I would like to have anyone from the floor come forward, introduce yourself, and please. And then we'll follow with the online comments from Julia Collins from Park City. And lastly, from comments that we're going to read, Wyatt Woolley's going to read comments. Please.
Thank you. It's great to be here this morning in this beautiful new city hall. This is my first opportunity to see it in person, so this is a wonderful experience. Salt Lake City's citywide transportation plan considers the east-west divide to be the largest transportation issue facing the city today. And until last week, there was no officially proposed or supported plan to address this divide. That changed when the Salt Lake County Council endorsed the Rio Grand plan. This plan would grade separate Union Pacific and UTA tracks through downtown. It would reactivate the Rio Grande Depot as the primary train station in downtown Salt Lake City. It would eliminate 8 of Utah's deadliest railroad crossings, and it would generate 76 acres of new developable land downtown. This plan is, I again emphasize, the only official proposal to address the east-west divide. And the fact that it has not been formally considered on a state level yet needs to be addressed. This project is critical for our state and our communities. There are many other individual projects to pick at little bits of different issues here and there, but nothing addresses this divide quite like this proposal does. So I'm asking that there be some state consideration given to this project. We would like to see a more formal study, and we would like to see it included in more regional plans. We'd like to see it included in other plans in the area for other various transportation projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other one from, yes, please. Your name, please.
Oh, Nathan Strain, I'm sorry.
Spell the last name.
S-T-R-A-I-N.
Thank you. Thank you, Nathan. Please state your name.
My name is Alexander Monson. First off, I'd just like to concur with Nathan here on the Rio Grande plan. I think it's an excellent plan. But the main reason I'm up here is I have some concerns with specifically the project on 1600 in Orem and the State Street project in American Fork. To me, there seems to be a bit of a conflict where you're both trying to widen the road and add active transportation. I think the active transportation is a very worthy goal, but I worry that that's going to be canceled out by the road widening. I walk most places I can. I walk to work, I walk to school, and honestly, it doesn't matter to me how good the active transportation is along a state highway. If I'm going to avoid walking next to one, I always will. They're just the width of the road and the speed of the traffic almost always makes it unpleasant and unsafe to walk next to. So it seems to me that there's almost a conflict of priorities. Maybe somebody's worked this out. If that's possible, I'd love to get and reach with them and figure out what the actual plan is to make active transportation feasible along a widened highway.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Amelia Powers Gardner. I'm a county commissioner here in Utah County, and I just wanted to come and thank you. Thank you for recognizing the growth that Utah County has. Thank you for recognizing that we currently have the most congested traffic in the state, and thank you so much for prioritizing those projects in our major growth corridors. We really appreciate it, our citizens appreciate it, and our future citizens that are moving here at the rate of about 25,000 people a year appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for your efforts and your continued efforts. We look forward to working with you as partners and doing everything we can to support you. I'm sure you know that Utah County was the first and still the only county to adopt a fifth so that we can come to the table and have a local match whenever possible. And we want to work with you to prioritize projects and ensure that as we grow and as we become the largest county in the state, that our citizens have that support. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner, for your leadership. It makes all the difference. We're in this together, and we appreciate your support.
Hey, top of the morning to you. Kendall Thomas, I'm a county councilman out in Tooele County. And I'm here to say thank you for the support that this commission has given Tooele County. We're doing great things. And we're all suffering from growth, but we're trying to play catch up. And thanks for your support. And I just want to give you an accountability. One of our very important projects is our Mid-Valley Highway. We've got two military installations that can use that, particularly the Army Depot, where it's dependent to move those munitions in the support of our depot there and our national defense. The other thing is the economic impact to it. But just to refresh your memory, there's 3 phases to the Mid-Valley Highway. And the first one is done, where it comes off I-80, feeds into Stansbury, feeds into Grantsville. Carlos, thank you for getting it done. I believe that you can do anything if you got money. And then the other thing is, there are the other 2 phases. The second phase is where it goes through the newly formed city of Erda and connects Twilla, Lake Point, Stansbury. That's got some challenges, and we know that's probably a longer term ask than the third phase, and that's what I'm just going to give you an update, is we've met with the Army Depot, UDOT, Twilla City, Twilla County, all the players, so we can move this forward. We think it's kind of lower hanging fruit. And if we can get this done on the south end of Twilla, that would come off of that Highway 36, go down to the Mid-Valley High, not Mid-Valley High, the Sheep Lane, and then connect to the first phase of Mid-Valley Highway. It's already done. If we can do that, we move a lot of all the heavy truck traffic that goes out. There's lots of gravel trucks that transfer that back and forth. And so what we've done is we're to the point where the Army Depot give us a corridor to say where a boundary. They didn't give it to us. They give us the boundaries to it and says, will this meet could it be recorded? So our county recorder, they went through and says, yes, when it's ready, this meets the standards so that it could be recorded. Really important. We worked real close with the depot attorney and their law folks that says, hey, this can be done, but we got a new colonel. They change every 2 years, and the gentleman, this new colonel, is going to be great to work with. And so we're in the process of working him, but now we know that Connolly's been wonderful from UDOT. Everything's ready to go along, and now we're just about ready to turn the next page, and that's called the Corps of Army Engineers. Takes 3 to 4, 6 months, and it's down in Texas, I believe is where it's at. So we're moving along. We're trying to do everything we can locally to make sure this project moves along, knowing if we could get funding for the third phase. And then also, we're not here to ask for you. I left you some information here on your desk to show you we're not dependent. Yeah, we are. We're dependent on UDOT. But we're out there hustling. We're making the ask. And here's the list of things of recruit from IVAPA to, and they're listed here, and I won't take time to go over it. But we're appreciative, we're grateful, but we're willing to help ourselves too. So as you go through in priorities, remember that, how important that third phase of Mid-Valley Highway is to Twilla County. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No, not you. I don't think you need to.
I've been sitting there for 15 minutes like, do I get up and talk to these folks? It's weird to be Shane Marshall, City Council member for Spanish Fork City. It's weird to be on this side and not sitting in one of those little chairs over there. Far more nerve-wracking, honestly, here than over there. It's kind of weird. I wanted to welcome you all to Utah County as well. I'm sure that at least one of the deputies needed a map to get down here, at least this far south. I'm not sure which one it is, but I'm sure that happened. It's great to have you. You heard from Jordan talking about the investment that you're all making on the north end of the county. And I want you to know from the community on the south end of the county, we appreciate that. We sit around the table at the MAG MPO and talk about needs for the county, and Commissioner Evans is there with us. And we may not agree on the solutions to those problems, but I think we agree on the problems. And there is a significant transportation problem on the north end of our county, and you're addressing that significantly with what you said, Mr. Chairman, with about $1 billion worth of work. That is going to help all of the county. We have a housing problem in our county, and there are some good places to live out in Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs, and Lehigh. And this relief is going to help offset some of our challenges in the south of the valley. So we appreciate that greatly. So keep that up. I think you saw from Eric, the theme of Utah County outside of the north end is access to I-15. Pleasant Grove Interchange. You heard the mayor say Provo Interchange, Spanish Fork Springville Interchange, Center Street. Santaquin, access. It's a huge issue for us. I-15 plays a major role in transportation in Utah County, and getting to and from it is important to all of us. So keep that up. We appreciate the investment. You have, Eric mentioned, you've funded a study in Spanish Fork. You're going through that process. We are very much supportive of the process. We're looking forward to the outcome of that process. We understand completely that that funding is out there a ways. I'm not asking for funding today. I'm saying continue that process. I believe in the transportation prioritization process that you all work through, and that project will rise up at some point and become a priority. So no problems there. It is definitely 10 years out, and we have no problem. But we want something on paper that we can plan around. And I know Santaquin is in the same boat as us. Get that solution for us so we can plan around it and help you guys, as we move forward. So thank you very much for that. I hope that you had a chance to drive through Springville Spanish Fork yesterday. I don't know if you did. It sounded like you were on the north end. But that interchange is so important for both Springville and Spanish Fork. US 6, the interchange there is a tough one. You go through there on a Friday and you're going to be sitting there a bit. But that's okay, right? That means people are coming to our community. They want to be in our community. They want to shop and recreate in our community. And so that's just fine. But this I-15 interchange at Springville and Spanish Fork will be a very helpful solution to that. We'll get our residents off of the US 6 corridor and into their communities and their homes much quicker. So we really appreciate that. So keep that going. I think it's a 3-phase project. We'd fully support funding all 3 phases. On your agenda today, you will notice there is an intersection on US 6 and 89 in Spanish Fork Canyon. That has been a tricky intersection since it was built. And as volumes increase, both east and west and north and south on 89, more and more people are turning there. I can't tell you how much we support that interchange from my community. Our first responders are those that go there anytime there's an accident. Your funding today will help save lives, absolutely guarantee. You'll never know who those people are that you saved, but you will save lives by funding that project. We could not support that more as a community. I do have one super small ask, because I can't get up here without a small ask. Super small ask. It's not an interchange. It's something small. It's a little bit of active transportation, a little bit of safety thrown in there. There's actually another intersection of 89 and 6. And it's in Spanish Fork. Right before you head up the canyon, US 89 and 6 come together as a T intersection. With the volumes increasing in both Mapleton and Spanish Fork, that is becoming more and more of a safety concern. There is no active transportation access through US 6 along the entire corridor of Utah County. This intersection could solve a bunch of problems. We could get an active transportation trail through there to access Mapleton and Spanish Fork. We realign it to make it safer, make it a 4-leg intersection, and allow both Spanish Fork and Mapleton to develop a little bit different around the intersection. So our staff in Spanish Fork has been working with your staff, Rob's staff in UDOT, to look at something up there. And while I'm not asking to fund it by any means, I'm just putting it on your radar that at some point I hope that comes before you and you give it some favorable consideration. So it's one of those projects that is difficult to fund because it's not on the TIF list. It's a smaller project, but it's a large dollar amount. So just giving you a heads up that that's just as important as the big things. That connection with active transportation is really important for our community, and that's a place we can do it safely. So with that, I will say thank you again for coming down. Welcome deputies to Utah County, and welcome the commission to Utah County. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Shane.
They're very fortunate to have you there, Shane. Congratulations.
Anyone else? If not, I would like to ask Julia Collins. You have the floor, please.
Thank you, Commissioner. Can you hear me okay? It's a little
Yes.
hard with the audio on mine, so it's wonderful. So I'm here today to express Park City's gratitude and share an exciting video that highlights the incredible impact of a recently completed project in Park City that the Commission supported. And the Commission over the years has been so supportive and generous to Park City and Summit County. We wanted to thank the Commission, our UDOT partners, and UDOT staff for their support with the STIP and for funding this highly utilized bus stop in our system, along with future SR 224 bus rapid transit line. Park City is very unique in their travel patterns. with the recreational user base traveling to and from major ski resorts, our snow, being a major economic driver of jobs and sales tax in the state. And as a result, we have seen and continue to see incredible growth in our region. And then our investments in transit, especially along state routes, SR 248 and SR 224, are proving to be very successful in seeing a lot of transit ridership growth occurring. So we're really proud of our alternative transportation solutions being utilized when we make these investments. So sharing the success of this project is actually the brilliant idea of Elena in the UDOT's Rural Transit Department. You approve so many projects of local governments, and you don't always get to see the fruits of your labor. And a special thanks goes out to that department whose incredible efforts made the funding and the coordination with MTA possible. They've worked very hard, and they're a great team and wonderful to partner with. I believe that Grant is setting up the video for me, is what I can tell through online. And I apologize for not being in person to see your smiling faces. Grant, you want to give me the thumbs up when we're good to go? I can also add in that the primary funding source was $1.7 million in the CARES MTA funding. These stops are highly utilized by High Valley Transit and Pursuit Transit. We see about 2,200 riders a day during peak times, which is comparable with a front runner station stop at UTA, and that's really impressive for bus service for us to provide such a high level of bus service and frequency. So I'll pause for a second. I think I see Heather doing some magic.
Okay.
Bus stops, a project that goes beyond. Welcome to Park City. We're excited to introduce our new Fresh Market bus stops, a project that goes beyond the traditional concept of a bus stop. These stops are among the busiest in Park City, with up to 2,000 riders and 150 buses using them daily. We worked with the adjacent property owners, a grocery store, to ensure ADA connectivity and widened sidewalks, ensuring a seamless pedestrian experience. This stop will also be a main hub for
Do I have to hold it down so you can hear me? She's gone. Okay. I'm Wyatt Woolley, UDOT Region 3 Communications, and I have two comments here. One, you already kind of heard earlier about the Rio Grande, and the other one's for Region 3. So I'll read the first comment here from Frederick M. Jenny. Good morning. Sorry I could not be there in person to speak, but I wanted to make sure my comment was heard. I am writing my comment to the Utah Transportation Commission in support of the citizen proposed Rio Grande plan. This is an amazing concept that has been gaining traction for 4 years, and recently on August 6th secured a key endorsement from the Salt Lake County Council. This bold proposal proposes burning the rails through downtown Salt Lake's grades, separating 8 railroad crossings and reopening 2 to 3 streets. This aligns with UDOT and UTA's long-term goal to grade separate front runner along the entire route. This is the right way to do it, rather than use subpar under and overpasses. The Rio Grande would move heavy rail traffic into a trench or train box along 500 West Street, deconflicting the crossings and opening up 75 acres of new land. This,
Can we lost the sound for online?
This includes the elimination of several underused rail yard, allowing for more connections between east and west sides of the city. The train box would allow 6 tracks to pass unobstructed through the downtown, with passengers traffic 3 to 4 tracks stopping at the historic Rio Grande Depot once more. The Rio Grande plan would ease the east-west transportation divide and give Utah the central station it deserves. With the 2034 Olympics coming back to Utah, we need to show the world that we have a world-class stations like other major U.S. and world cities. Salt Lake Central is not going to cut it. It's time to put our money where our mouth is and fix downtown the right way with the Rio Grande plan. So I encourage this governing body to actively look into work on the Rio Grande plan as the Salt Lake County Council has requested be done on all future transportation projects within the Salt Lake County. If we want to have this world-class station done by 2034, the clock is ticking. It's time to get moving. Thank you. That was from Frederick M. Jenny.
Thank you.
I have this comment here from Landry H. This is for our region here in Region 3. Hello, Transportation Commission. For what is planned to be a major route, State Route 73, which you guys went on yesterday, SR 73 has a segment into 2 separate segments. The first segment from SR 36 in Tooele County to SR 85 in Saratoga Springs, and the second from 850 East in Lehigh to US Route 89 State Street in Lehigh. This is due to a jurisdictional transfer between UDOT and local governments in 2011-2015. With the west extension of Pioneer Crossing, currently SR 145, the western segment of SR 73 ends where SR 145 begins and vice versa, despite being the same roadway. On top of that, a driver trying to follow SR 73 from I-15 west to Eagle Mountain could be very confused and get lost due to this SR 73 discontinuity. I propose that the short segment between 850 East and Lehigh and US 89 get renumbered as a separate route, and that SR 73 is consolidated with SR 145. This would provide a continuous route that would connect I-15 and US 89 with northwestern Utah County and would, upon the completion, bring the Corey B. Wright Memorial Highway and Pioneer Crossing under the same SR 73 banner. And then he provides a map and says, "It's my hope that a resolution is drafted I can comment on this if you want."
Go ahead, please.
I've already spoken to our traffic engineer, and the connection from 145 to 73 that we went on, that's Pioneer out to 7, we're probably not going to change all those signs. That doesn't make sense. But that little connection from 73 out to Lehigh, we're going to look into maybe changing the signage on that. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Is this one working? I guess the statement I'd made on the Rio Grande commitment plans that we've seen, I've been serving on the Wasatch Front Regional Council. I would hope that the parties that are involved with that is working through there, because almost all of the projects in Salt Lake and Salt Lake County come through that regional council. before it gets to us. That is, I have not heard about it on that committee, and I was on a meeting yesterday, and I would suggest that, make sure that they're working that and pushing it, because we rely on, to a great extent, the Wasatch Front Regional Council is coordinating all these programs. And so that's just a recommendation.
Thank you. Any other comments from the floor, online? Thank you for all the comments. Item number 4 on the agenda is a Federal Highway Report, and we can see that Brigitte Mandel is coming forward.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Brigitte Mandel, Deputy Division Administrator for the Federal Highway Administration. Thank you for having me today. I've got a few items I'd like to share with you. The first is a notice of funding opportunity for the Reconnecting Communities pilot program. This program was authorized under bill, the bipartisan infrastructure law, for $1 billion. There is over $600 million remaining. All of that will be awarded under this next round. $457 million is set aside for capital construction projects, and $150 million will be set aside for community planning. Applications are due September 30th. The next notice of funding opportunity is for the nationally significant Federal Lands and Tribal Projects Program. This round will have $165 million available for funding, and that will include funding for FY '24, '25, and '26. Applications are due October 16th, and eligible applicants include federal land management agencies, tribal governments, and then states, counties, and local governments can apply with sponsorship of a federal land management agency or tribal government. I do want to thank UDOT for including the Federal Highway Administration in their groundbreaking of the Energy Corridor Project earlier this week. That was a previous recipient of a $45 million grant under this program. This one's hot off the press, or no, sorry, I skipped one. The next one. So the final rule to amend Title 23 CFR Part 661, the Indian Reservation Road Bridge Program, took effect August 12th. That program has since been renamed as the Tribal Transportation Facility Bridge Program. It made updates in accordance with various laws to comply with those laws, and it established a consistent terminology for bridge conditions. This program has about $200 million available each fiscal year. The federal cost share is 100%, and eligible applicants are limited to federally recognized tribes. Okay. The next one is right off the press, because that is happening this morning. There is a national plan for vehicle-to-everything connectivity that is being rolled out today. As you may remember, last month, UDOT was a recipient of a $20 million grant, and that project that they were awarded is in support of this plan. So there is a press event happening today on that. And I'd like to give kudos to the UDOT Program Finance and Comptroller staff. Once again, Utah's at the top. We were one of only 4 states to achieve a 0% inactive rate for the third quarter of fiscal year '24. We appreciate all the work and time and effort that they put in to this effort. So thank you to your staff. And then I have one item that is not in the slide, because again, it came out literally last night. There is a 90-day call out for federal land access projects. UDOT, or Utah, gets $12.8 million a year, and they are looking to program projects. So there's a 90-day period through November 15th that they're accepting applications for projects. They are looking to fund the next 2 to 4 years of projects. As part of that, any public transportation facility that is owned or maintained by any state, county, local government, or tribe and provides access to federal lands is eligible to submit. And with that, that's all I have. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Item number 5 on the agenda, UDOT Scoreboard, and Carmen Swanwick is coming down to present. She will be followed by Troy Peterson.
Good morning, Commissioners.
morning.
Thanks for having me here today. I'm Carmen Swanwick with Project Development, and I'm just going to go through and give everyone our project delivery status update. We'll start off, as you can see, just the general status. Right now, there are 7 past due, but we have another 50 projects that will be advertised within the next 60 days. Our advertising performance, you can see this is just the current fiscal year, so it's from the beginning of July. We've advertised 10 projects. So we're a little low on that performance, but that will go back up as we start to deliver more projects. And it's about almost $48 million in projects that we've advertised so far. And these are just the list of the projects. Again, you know, we're really early in our fiscal year, so we're not showing too much. The projects that, let me get down here, have been late that you can see in red. We're monitoring those closely. A lot of them have to do with some right-of-the-way that we've needed on like our BFP program. We're working on agreements with the locals as part of that program. And then also still working with the Ute tribe on an MOU. So we're monitoring those and we have a plan. You can see too, let me move this little dial, what the program looks like. You can see all the projects in scoping getting ready to advertise. You know, we'll be looking to advertise, you know, between October and February will be kind of that key time. There's always some that go before or after, but you can see the trend in the program and what will be forthcoming. Now we're into the number of construction projects. Right now, you know, in July, 204, we have 199 right now. You can even compare to last year at 182, so we're almost 20 projects more. Right now, we've spent 1.8 billion in August, and I think we have about 1.2 or 3 in contracts out remaining. This is the contractor payments. It's very typical. You can see our trend. July is always a big month, and I think August will be right there with it, with the size of our program right now. Moving down to contract award and estimates. As you can see, we're really in line right now with how we're doing our engineers' estimates with the bid prices that we're getting. So we feel the program is very healthy and it's moving in a really good direction for what we have programmed. And that is my presentation today. I'm happy to take any questions.
Go ahead. Carmen, it's always interesting. How are we seeing the construction cost escalation generally in today's market? Because the president says inflation's under 3%.
Basically, God, I can't even think of the word, leveled out for the most part. And I think we're more like that 6%. We're really not down to the 3 or 4% that we've seen, but we have leveled out more along that 6 or 7%.
Mhm.
And so that's what we're really considering right now in all of our engineers' estimates.
Uh-huh. Well, that's progress
And-
then.
And we seem to be coming in line with the data that I've shown.
Thank you.
Any other question? Thank you, Carl.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Since you're not Troy Peterson, you didn't introduce yourself.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Robert Miles. I'm with the Department of, with Traffic and Safety. I'm here for Troy this morning, so we brought almost all of our A game except for one little spot. Apologize. So we have about 18 days left in our 100 deadliest days this year. And year to date, we are currently sitting at 85 fatalities for the year, or for the 100 deadliest days period. That is definitely higher than we want it to be because it's more than zero. But it's a little bit concerning because we've seen a big jump in the last month. July and into June and July were pretty rough on fatality numbers. There's a lot of tragic things that happen on the roadway. So we are doubling down on our messaging, and we're going to keep talking to folks on that. Just by comparison, last year at this point, we were at 81 fatalities in our 100 deadliest days period. We were 85 total for the entire 100 deadliest days period for the entire period last year. Sorry, I'm going to try and pick one of these to talk into. I feel like I'm echoing everywhere. Year to date, we are at 275 fatalities, which puts our fatality rate at 0.77 fatalities per 100 million vehicle miles traveled, which is good. But let's not celebrate that too much. Let's keep in mind, the things we've seen in the last month. We've got a lot of work left to do on this. We're currently running at 849 suspected serious injuries for the year, and about 35,000 crashes this year. The big things that we're keeping an eye on right now are motorcycle-related crashes. They've been very high this year. Our pedestrians have been a little bit higher than we were hoping they would be at this time. We were trending pretty low at the first few months of the year, but again, this last couple of months have been pretty hard on that. We're trending kind of in line where we were last year. We've had, for reference, 33 motorcycle fatalities in 2024. Last year, we had 32 total for the entire year. We've had four bicyclist-involved fatalities for 2024. Last year, we had 5 for the entire year. Pedestrians, we had 20, I just gave you the year-to-date numbers, not the entire year last year. So I clarify, motorcycles, 33 year-to-date for 2024. At this point last year, we were at 32. Bike-related, 4 year-to-date. Last year, we were at 5 at this point, and pedestrians was 22 this year-to-date. Last year, we were at 21. Okay. Are there any questions I can answer for you? Commissioner Kramer.
Wrong way collision problems.
Yes.
Improving?
Yeah, I think we have seen some improvements. We've had 4 fatalities related to wrong way driving this year that we've got on our records. We're seeing some positive things with the system we put in place. I think we're seeing some positive things with the low tech improvements we've made as well out there, kind of doubling down on our standards and making sure everything is maintained and up to date. But I feel like we are seeing some improvement on that. They're so random, or so few of those happen per year, it's kind of hard to give you a really great statistical answer on that. But I see positive things out there, Commissioner Kramer. Thank you for the help and allowing us some resources to work on those things.
A follow-up question to that.
Yes, sir.
I know we had approved, and you've been putting in more of those, tech, solutions, and we got all the ones in that have been approved, are those still in process?
So when we came for the money, we said we would install 20 of them. We were able to find enough savings in our processes and engineering solutions in the field that we actually have 23 installed at this point. We have 3 more under construction that should be online by the end of the year. And that will exhaust the money that we have there. So we believe we'll get 20 at the end of the day. I believe we'll have 26 commissioners. So.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Now we're pleased to hear from our dear friends and partners from Utah Transit Authority who are here to present the annual report. I can see the chairman Carl the Christians coming forward with a little bit of a day lag. I hope you can manage. I think we're going to hear from Beth Holbrook, yes, and Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's a pleasure to be with you today on behalf of, as you mentioned, I'm joined by my colleagues, Beth Holbrook and Jeff Acerson. We also phoned a friend and brought our executive director, Jay Fox, along with us in case there's a question there.
Hello, Carlos. This is Natalie or I'm getting a lot of double feedback, and I really want to hear this in
So are we here, Natalie. We got to figure this out.
Turn it up.
Okay. Let's see, Natalie, is that better? Okay. And it's probably, we have an embedded video that is a joint effort by UDOT, and that, I think, as they were preparing for that. We just want to thank the commission and, first of all, for this opportunity, but more importantly, with UDOT staff, as we've partnered together on a number of projects, and as we look forward, and even as you reviewed projects here in Utah County that some could label highway focused, are including transit and long-term solutions for the region in those solutions. And certainly as we look to serve growing areas in our region, we know that that partnership needs to be even stronger. Those corridors are probably going to be similar in their nature. And so the opportunity to work with your staff is really important, and we appreciate their support. I would just echo the comments of our esteemed local leaders from Tooele that if you give Carlos enough money, he can solve anything. So, but having said that, let me turn to my colleague Beth Holbrook for the first, and then Jeff will follow, and then I'll follow up.
Okay, I heard that. Who said that? Good morning. My name is Beth Holbrook, and I am the trustee that represents Davis, Weber, and Box Elder. But as you know, we also work as a collective, very similar to you. And I just wanted to thank you again for the opportunity to present this morning. Let's see, this one? Okay. I am not as technologically challenged as I thought. Okay. One of the things that I think is really beneficial for us to be talking about is how and why we are planning. I think Commissioner Van Tassel, you mentioned WFRC and MAG as well, who represents this area. And one of those things is that collaborative approach to all of our planning. And that includes roads, transit, active transportation, how we are connecting to everywhere within our communities is really critical as we move forward. It's choices and options for people to connect, whether they're going a small distance or a longer distance. It's also preserving corridor. So one of the key components, as you are well aware, is that preservation of corridor is really going to become a more critical component as we are slowly having to deal with our growth issues as well. Economic development, I know that's Lou's secret favorite discussion, and that is also one of the critical things as we all look at managing growth moving forward. We're also talking about how is it that we can continue to collaborate? What can we continue to do as we work with our cities? Like Mayor Kafusi here this morning, who is a fabulous mayor down in this area and has really worked hard to be integrated, as you had heard earlier. Let's see, the next slide is, one of the other things I want to talk about really quickly is the transportation conference that has really transformed. And that is one of the things that is going to be, I think, leading out as we continue to look at our collaborative efforts within the state. I wanted to talk just briefly about the Front Runner Forward program. This is obviously a UDOT construction managed project in collaboration with UTA, and how we are going to improve our frequencies, our service days. We're going to include Sundays in that. And what this is going to do basically is it's going to allow us to have strategic double tracking in about 50% of our areas currently. And that gives us the 15-minute service frequencies and 30-minute off-peak service, and that potential for express routes, et cetera, or express service. As you can see, it's kind of outlined. The double tracking is established right there in these phases, and it's highlighted by the colors as well. We also know the value of making sure that our service is maintainable, and all of our maintenance of way it helps to do that increase in reliability. Next slide is the readiness, security, and safety. Here you go. This is 2034 plus, as we like to call it, and we're definitely looking towards what we can do for the Olympics. But it's also going to help to address our initial and existing growth. Those are the components that we're going to really continue to focus on so that we can really increase the multimodal connectivity pieces. As you know, again, we partnered with UDOT to do this. We had an opportunity to take the Olympic Committee around on our wrapped rail line for tracks. There's an FTA circular guidance regarding the contingency fleets, how we're going to navigate that, so what type of vehicles and how long we're going to keep them and maintain them. There's cybersecurity is obviously a component of Olympic readiness. Safety in not just the actual physical safety, but also safety within our system as well. So how we are going to connect matters and what we're doing to invest in those. There is currently today a THUD bill that is in the U.S. Senate and a separate House bill by Representative Cantwell that talks about the potential funding opportunities specific to large events. And one of the things that they have also done is they have looked at the LA Olympics in 2028. They are looking at the large FIFA areas as well. So FIFA is, I'm sorry, I probably mispronounced it. It's the world of soccer. There's going to be about 6 venues. I know you guys are laughing. I'm sorry, I'm not a soccer person. There's Kansas City, Miami, San Jose. All of these cities are looking at these big, large events and how they can navigate it. And they've also included 2034, so Salt Lake City as well. The next one I'm going to talk about is technology and innovation. And just after this is a video, so hopefully that's going to come through as well. This is, again, a very collaborative effort with UDOT and UTA. One of the key things is V2X, which is not the federal notification that I saw in the other presentation. This is actually our Front Runner Forward program, as well as how are we integrating. Grade crossings are really, really critical. There's a grade crossing funding request, I believe, that's in for the area down in Salt Lake City, around 9th South. That's a huge challenge. And grade crossing challenges exist all throughout our system. And how we navigate those is going to matter. And as you guys know, we're going to continue to hear from our constituents, your constituents, as to what we can do to improve that safety component. It's going to become more critical as we grow, right? More population equals more potential to help to navigate this so that we can minimize some of our problems. Really, I just wanted to emphasize the collaboration piece. I think that that is one of the most valuable things moving forward. I got the opportunity to listen to Commissioner D yesterday attending the WFRC meeting, and I really appreciated your perspective. One of the things you mentioned is trust, and what we want to make sure that we are doing is we're incorporating and including that so that our communities look at us as a trusted and valued partner. And so I want to thank UDOT for that, for helping us to navigate all of these things as we look to continue to manage growth. So with that, I'm going to have technology come up and show the video. And then after that video, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Jeff Acerson, who represents this area.
We'll try it. Right arrow?
Yeah, there you go.
V2.
Great statement. Oh, there we go again.
That's one way to make your emphasis clear.
Was that clear? You know, the more we can make our transportation systems safer, the better we serve our public. And this technology is a step forward in that direction. And I know Carlos and myself, I'd like to have one of those in my car as well to make me safe, to make sure that I'm doing the things I should be to make sure that we make the roads safe and the transit system safe.
Jeff, would you please state your name for the record?
Jeff Acerson, trustee of UTA, thank you. So on the screen right now, you see year-to-date our ridership. Those are all pluses, which would indicate that we're putting good service on our system, as well as people are utilizing that. And the growth is there. Everywhere we go as trustees, as we visit with our stakeholders and our MPOs, trying to chart the course to take care of all this growth that's coming, everyone's saying they want more transit. Carlos has been heard to say that that's the solution to a lot of our issues going forward is transit. one of the challenges UTA has had most recently is staffing, trying to have enough employees to drive our buses, to drive our trains. And it was really a challenge. And when we don't have the qualified people to drive, that affects our service, what we can put out there for people to use. Well, I'm here to say that we've finally, at least appears to have solved that situation right now. So I hit the right arrow, there you go. This is an indication of some of the hiring challenges we've had. Zero, now we're here in August now, we're in surplus right now. We have more operators to be able to drive our units in a way that it gives our people that do all the interviews, and they've put into place a lot of good programs to try to bring people to UTA, and we're seeing the benefits of that right now, which is what is needed, because everyone wants more service. In order to provide service, we have to have the operators. So here, it shows you the staff losses and the graduated new hires. We are in a surplus mode right now, which means what you see in our 5-year service plan that you'll have access to, we're able to provide more service. So we're programming more service, which meets the needs of our riding public, and I believe helps meet the transportation needs for our state. So the next screen here, this shows you some of the programmed for our new service that's coming forward. I don't need to read it all to you, but you can just see that quickly. OGX, there'll be some increased new bus service. Trax will have Saturday service in 2023, which we've shown. And then 2024, you've got the new bus service in Ogden, which was an incredible success. It's really serviced that area up there. South Utah County, we're going to have new bus service that we've implemented in 2025, 2026, and 2027. There are some major enhancements with the Mid-Valley Express, which will be a new BRT bus service, which will be modeled after the OGX and UVX that we have here locally, which is just a great system. We'll have some on-demand in the southwest section of Provo, which will provide service to the airport, much like a Uber system. And then in Northwest County, there's going to be new paratransit service out there, and we have some park and rides that are going in that northwest section of Utah County, and we're under study with the southwest section of Salt Lake County, where there's extreme growth, and the need is there, and UDOT's stepping up to meet that need, and UTA will do the same. Can I just do one little quick shout out to UDOT? Kind of an executive privilege, I guess. I have the mics until they pull me off. I returned for some service from Europe 14 years ago. I can't believe I've been back that long. When I came back, I'd been in Italy and learned how to drive, how the Italians drive, and it gets a little crazy. Well, North County Boulevard, which is in Linden, 700 North, comes to that PG Linden exchange on-ramp. There were 2 turn lanes off of that to get onto the on-ramp. And what happened was that inside lane, everyone stayed in the right lane because they weren't able to navigate to get over to the right to get onto the freeway. And so that inside lane, no cars would ever get into that. So my first call to Region 3, I talked to Eric Rasban, because I stayed in that inside lane. I got up there and I saw, in my mind, having that Italian mentality, 2 lanes could turn onto the interstate, which I did. And I got someone honking at me, but there was plenty of space there. And so I said, well, unless you want an Italian to get upset, what can we do? And Eric called me short time after that and said, we're doing that project, or they saw the need. And it is, if you get a chance, Jim, you probably will have that opportunity. There are 3 turn lanes now, and it's working marvelously. And I just want to applaud UDOT. Not only do they listen they deliver. And I look forward to that association with UTA and UDOT going forward, because Carlos is probably tired of me hearing or saying this. We need corridor preservation. We need a shoulder. We need every road that we build, we need to look at how does transit and how does walkability, how does bike lanes, make that conversation happen. And when we do, we're going to have a better system going forward. So I applaud you listening, and I applaud you being a partner in that process. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
I have a question.
Okay, this
For
question.
for any of them, just, did you just either as about to or just switched over on some of the places where now you don't get the free fare? Did that happen yet? And it'll be interesting to see how,
it has.
especially UVX, that's what I'm curious about, what will happen.
It happens in, I think, this Sunday, right?
So this weekend, so it'll be interesting to watch that and just see reports on what ridership does, if at all, if anything.
You don't address that at all?
Yeah, I mean, there's, so what is being, the question really being asked is, for the last 5 years, there's been no fare on UVX. It's been subsidized. But historically, as we integrate service, while we have on occasion, and we are currently in Ogden offering free fare on a new system to encourage ridership, we know in the long term that isn't really a sustainable model. And so on UVX, what is important to recognize is that 85% of the riders are students, and they already are in an EdPass program. And so what we're working with is on that other 15%, and we have a low-income pass program that can get somebody 50% off, and also a fare pay card. And what we've implemented with this change also is that there's fare capping. So if you've tapped more than twice in a day, all the remaining rides are free. And so we think in the long run, the challenge will have mitigated a little bit, and frankly, for a more frequent rider, they'll benefit from some of those changes. But we're watching it. I'll just, Carlton Christensen, Chair of the Board again, let me just point out here are some expansion projects that were currently underway. I think Jeff talked about them. One that's important to both parties is the 5600 West enhanced bus connecting the West Side communities, because that's important to move Mountain View Corridor along. And we're working closely with UDOT on that project and planning on that moving forward in an appropriate time frame. I just wanted to talk really briefly about our debt, and because it often gets looked past, and it happened quite a while ago. When I was a newly elected official back in the late 90s or early 2000s in Salt Lake City, one of the discussions that we often had as local officials in our MPO and other places, that in transit-rich communities, a 1 cent sales tax toward transit was a typical rate of, and there was always the anticipation that there would be incremental increases in transit tax. Depending on the county, that roughly right now is around 0.62 to 0.66 of 1 cent sales tax. And in the late 2010 and in preparation for the 2013 big build out of UTA, UTA extended a lot of debt and was in the heart of the recession. It was one of the, I think, 3 largest projects, probably behind your UDOT's project in Utah County. The church was building City Creek, and it kept a lot, and in the airport, and it kept a lot of people moving. And we built rail at a cost that is a fraction of what it would cost today. But in those challenging times, I think there was probably an anticipation that increased sales tax would come in and didn't. So UTA took a lot of long-term debt. They took a lot of 30-year bonds in a variety of forms. Over this last 6 years, we have refinanced a little over $1 billion of that to the betterment of UTA. We're in a current one here in the next week or so of a significant piece that gets us out of some long-term Build America bonds that will be helpful to UTA in the long term. But this gives you an idea of what the system built out, including commuter rail and a lot of the light rail lines. And we have benefited from a system that was anticipated for 2030 for many years beyond, in advance of what we would have done. It was a bold move, and it was a good move. It served our communities well, and I don't say that in a sense of bemoaning. I just say it in a sense of understanding where we are financially. That in turn, as we've done any of our refinancing, we've kept the terms of those bonds in line with the original term, but much of our debt goes out to 2042, and then in 2043 there's a significant drop-off. I personally hope I'm alive in 2043, but it is a very long-term kind of thing. If we took out in our 10-year capital plan all of our advanced projects, for the most part, in meeting our operational needs of our current local service and some increased local service, UTA runs a reasonable place, and we're in a decent financial position. In a recent bond ratings, UTA was slightly upgraded in one and has maintained its rating, and we're in a really solid place there. However, if you take our 10-year capital plan, which obviously meets the needs of the growing communities around us, there is a delta of roughly about $55 million, most of it coming from capital expenditures that then put us into a challenging place. On the prior slide that I showed, we're anticipating, for example, the increased costs of front-runner double tracking and projects that are currently in place or on the pending of construction. So we're in a good place there. We're not advancing things. We only show this slide for discussion's sake and about how do we accomplish that common goal of adding more service and also recognizing the burden that capital expenditures put on us as an agency. And we anticipate some of those solutions will be discretionary grants. You can't count on those, so it's hard to put it in a pro forma. And UTA has been very successful at that. We know that there will probably be some local opportunities. A recent, as pointed out by Commissioner Powers Gardner, that they've enacted their fifth transit tax. That doesn't come directly to UTA, but we would partner with them, and it's discretionary in its nature. If other counties choose to impose that, again, they would be discretionary in its nature, but it would go a long way in meeting that gap. And we also know that the legislature has invested substantial dollars in the TTIF that could be there. So there's a myriad of opportunities there to help resolve this challenge. And then I just would say that as we go forward, this is a joint conversation. Carlos has been great as we've had this conversation with local or legislative leadership and others, and we're going to be making some presentations in the next couple weeks to legislature to help them understand that framework. Are there any questions that any of us can respond? We're probably over our time, so. Okay.
Natalie, question?
Carlos?
Go ahead, please.
Nagi, you giving me the floor?
Go ahead, yes.
Okay. Carlos, I was concerned last year when UDOT didn't have good service at Jazz Game when they let out on Friday nights. Curious if that's better here.
I didn't quite understand.
Can you repeat the question, please? It was kind of...
It's about Jazz Games.
Oh,
Are you talking about a Saturday or on a weekend?
Yeah, as I recall, the service was cut back on Saturday, and so Jazz Games would end and people would have to wait a half hour for something that would normally be a 15-minute headway. And I thought that was on.
Be a great opportunity for the executive director
Yeah, Jay, do you want to come speak to it? I didn't believe I know the answer, but I will phone a friend.
Well, I'd like Jay also to have some FaceTime here.
Good morning, Jay Fox, Executive Director of Utah Transit Authority. Actually, we added last August, change days, 15-minute service on Saturdays on track, since the prior to that day was 30 minutes on the weekend. So that's a lot of additional service. In fact, when you saw the ridership slides earlier, you saw a 33% increase in ridership on the track service. That's due in part to that. There were a lot of factors. We now have Trax ambassadors. We actually have onboard ambassadors on one of our lines that's providing the same kind of service that our train hosts do on our front runner service. So it's they're customer interfacing. So to answer the short answer to your question, Natalie, is we're providing really good service on Trax now, and actually we interact. We've been interacting with the Jazz corporate leadership. So we're working on them potentially on Ticket to Spare as well. So I think we're providing really good service. And the nice thing about the Orange Line and Trax modernization is ultimately that's going to provide 7.5 minutes service on that line all the way from the airport through the middle of town. So hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Any other questions? Thank you, friends. We're proud of the partnership we have with you, and you always do a good job. Thank you. Keep it up. Now we proceed with the business items of agenda number 7, consent agenda. Ivan Harden is coming forward to present. They will be followed by program.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Ivan Hartle, Financial Programming. Our first item that we have is item number 7. It is the consent agenda. Included in the consent agenda are the minutes for the June 28th and the July 22nd Transportation Commission meeting, as well as a list of projects. The projects included in the exhibit have either been awarded, have been identified with budget amounts that can be recovered, or are in the closeout process and have funding available to be moved and reprogrammed. So located in the packet again, below it, we have our June commission meeting with the items that were discussed and approved and actions taken, on down to our July 22nd interim commission meeting addressing a flood repair project needed. So our request today is a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments, corrections? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item, moving to item number 8, 8A-1, is a Logan Canyon fiber optics project. It's to add $6.4 million of funding, 3.5 of capital project funding, and then almost $3 million of local funding. The scope of the Logan Canyon Fiber Optics Phase 3 project is to connect fiber optics from Logan to the UDOT station in Logan Canyon. Currently, fiber optics are in place from the UDOT station in Garden City to Garden City. The current engineer's estimate shows an increase in costs due to inflation over the two-year-old estimate and an increase in pavement patchwork based on the placement of the trench. The additional funds for this project come from our U.S. Treasury ARPA Broadband Capital Project Fund. In the fiscal year 2024 legislative session, House Bill 3, $50 million was set aside for the UDOT Middle Mile Fiber Optic Capital Project Funding Program. The project team has worked with local entities on cost sharing, savings and cost sharing. This includes working in Pacific Corp, Logan Power, and Logan City for additional cost sharing shown here. Included in our table just shows that our current project with the base total of $26.4 million with our betterment, the local cost sharing, and our engineer's estimate. Located here on our map as well, you can see the span of the project going from Logan to the summit. Our request today is a motion to approve adding funds to the Logan Canyon Fiber Optics project as detailed.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make that motion, and I'd like to speak to that motion.
Please do.
There's great concern for safety in the canyon among people who travel that canyon often, and this is going to be an important move. And I also want to compliment UDOT for working collaboratively with Logan City and Rocky Mountain Power to do work in addition to what is being done, and this is very important to people. And we're seeing increased traffic in Logan Canyon, so increased concern for safety. Thank you.
I have a second to that motion if you'd like, and also a question. In your discussion with partners, particularly in the telecom providers, do they say how far out realistically they are before they start trying to access some of this infrastructure to add some capability there with cell coverage and things like that?
I got to phone a friend coming.
Thank you.
You didn't have to phone it, he just showed up.
Paul Egbert, Region 1 Program Manager. Also was the project manager on it previously. The cell companies are right behind us. They've been doing some planning with Lynn Yoakum, Lopin's group. So our plan is to start this year and finish the end of next year, and they'll be right behind us. They're doing the coordination with the Forest Service and everyone else.
Thank you. Yeah, certainly a help to the safety and the getting rapid responses up there, as Rhonda was talking about.
Thanks, Paul.
May I just ask, Pacific Corp, is that parent, Rocky Mountain?
Yes.
That's, talk about Pacific Corp. Yes. Okay.
I want to also at this point recognize our dear friend, Lynn Yoakum. Without her valuable efforts and hard work, none of the 500 even happens. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So we have a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item 8A-1 is approved.
Thank you. 8A-2 is I-15 project on 1800 North interchange and corridor widening. It's to combine pins and add funds. The SR 37, SR 108 to 2250 West reconstruct and widening to combine into the I-15 1800 North interchange project, becoming the I-15 1800 North interchange and corridor widening project. So the money to be added, it comes from our Transportation Investment Fund as well as some local contribution. The scope of the I-15 1800 North interchange project will relocate I-15 east onto property that is currently owned by Hill Air Force Base. The department is in negotiation with Hill Air Force Base to complete the land transfer that will allow the state of Utah to take ownership of the property and allow for a new interchange at Sunset. Hill Air Force Base and MIDA are installing a new base gate that will align with the new interchange. This project will also widen 2 miles of urban roadway along 1800 North into a 5-lane facility, add a grade separation of UTA and Union Pacific, and construct a trail system between Hill Air Force Base that will connect with the D&G Rail Trail, Clinton City Trail, and 3 Gates Trail. An update to the engineer's estimate shows cost increase on the original scope items and costs associated with removing utilities located on the land currently owned by Hill Air Force Base, the relocation of the Davis and Weber Canal, other right-of-way costs, and a grade separation for a future trail connection. The local funds will include improvements for the Davis-Weber County Canal Company, Enbridge Gas, North Davis Sewer District, MIDA, and the Weber Basin Water Conservancy District, Sunset City, and Clinton City. So located here on the map, see a lot of activity going on in this section with Hill Air Force Base in 1800 North, the I-15 running through the center of your map. An image, a future image, a rendering of what the overpass would look like, or the grade separation would look like. Our request today is a motion to approve adding funds to the I-15 1800 North interchange and corridor widening project as detailed.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you for the second. For those people that are new in the commission, this project was in the work of 11 to 12 years, Carlos. So, any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 8A-2 is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. 8A-3, I-15 Shepherd Lane Interchange and Pedestrian Overpass. It's a funding and scope change. The funds coming from both our Transportation Investment Fund as well as removal of some costs from a local contribution. This project includes accommodation of a future front-runner double tracking. This will lead to savings of impacting I-15 travelers only once, and will, as well as designing and placing the drainage system in the correct location and not having to tear out and rebuild the area for that future expansion. A major portion of this coordination was to construct a wall that would be able to accommodate the current I-15 widening and also the future front-runner double tracking. The total amount of work to accommodate a future front-runner double tracking came in at a higher price than estimated. There are also adjustments on the local betterments based on an actual bid, and Central Davis Sewer District removed some of their scope of work, which reduced the total amount of local funding needed. Located here on our map on I-15. Our request today is a motion to approve adding funds and scope change to the I-15 Shepherd Lane Interchange and Pedestrian Overpass project as detailed.
I'm happy to make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
There's a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item 8A-3 is approved.
Thank you. 8A-4 SR 126 to add turn lanes at 700 South. This is a funding addition from the Transportation Solutions Program of $600,000. The scope of the SR 126 add turn lanes at 700 South project is to add turn lanes at this intersection. This section of Weber County continues to expand and grow at an increasing pace. Improvements at this intersection will both decrease congestion and improve safety for the traveling public. An update to the engineer's estimate has shown additional funds needed to cover the construction materials and right-of-way project costs. Located here on our map. Our request today is a motion to approve adding funds to the SR 126 add turn lanes at 700 South project as detailed.
So moved.
Second. Okay, I have a second and first and a second. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Natalie? Okay. Any opposed? Item 8A-4 is approved.
Thank you. Our next item, 8A-5, is the US 89 Logan Summit Snow Fence, a funding addition from our Transportation Solutions Program. The scope of the US 89 Logan Summit Snow Fence project is to install a snow fence in Logan Canyon near the summit. With the snow fence installed, additional snow storage will be created off the roadway, improving the motorist safety as they pass through the scenic byway near Bear Lake Recreational Area. The project has been advertised before, and due to the limited contractors for the specialty snow fence, the department received no bids. The project was re-advertised, resulting in 2 bids. These bids were higher than the project value. The department has reviewed the bids and determined the best course of action is to add funding and award the project rather than go through the rebidding process. Located here on our map. Our request today is a motion to approve adding funds to the US 89 Logan Summit Snow Fence project as detailed.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make that motion.
Thank you.
I will second.
Motion and a second. Comments?
I would like, these are experts on that, so I support that, of course, but what specialty snow fence is this compared to a normal snow fence? It doesn't mean that, go along the meeting, but snow fences are.
The fencing is similar to what you'll see when you drive along Wyoming. The fencing they put in posts, it's not just a wooden fence. The old wooden fence you see, over time ages out. These are foundations, and then they have some straps that go across to help it's a lightweight facility, but it helps stop the snow and provide, it'll give us more time reaction on the first snow plowing operations.
These are about 10 foot high, aren't they?
They're designed specifically for the specific locations. In this area, it's up by the Peter Sinks area. So it feels like it's off the road, that there's a big drop off, but the snow comes up and over and does that, so that the heights vary.
That's why people move to sunny St. George.
That section of highway is closed during winter storms often. It's a difficult place for UDOT, wonderful snow plow drivers to maintain, so this will be very helpful. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
So we have the first and the second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Question for Ron, is this by the winter sports parking area there? Kind of where the snow comes out of the bowl and comes, okay, thanks.
I never get the events up in that part of the road, just curious. Not yet.
Not yet, but we had some, in the previous Olympics, we had teams in Logan and Cache Valley and some figure skaters.
So item 8-5 is approved, thank you.
Thank you. Our next item, item 8A6, the US 89 SR 126 to Perry. It's a funding addition from our Transportation Solutions program. The scope of the US 89 SR 126 to Perry project is to reconstruct the pavement, provide shoulders, improve access, and add drainage features to keep water off the travelway. The project team has updated the engineer's estimate and identified the need for additional funding. This project is ready to advertise, and these additional funds will allow the project to begin construction at the end of this year. Located here on our map in Willard. Excuse me. Our request today is a motion to approve adding funding to the US 89 SR 126 to Perry project as detailed.
Mr. Chair, I'd move for approval.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Any other comment, questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 8A-6 is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item, 8A-7, Parish Lane, 400 West intersection in Centerville. It's a transfer of scope and funding from the I-15 Reconstruct Farmington to Salt Lake City project to the Parish Lane project. Centerville City has a local project that is improving all four legs of an intersection that is on Parish Lane. The design and construction of the legs on SR 105 has been coordinated to also align with the work associated with the I-15 reconstruction project. Due to the inflation of right-of-way and materials and the project is short of funding, the 400 West intersection project is ready to advertise and construct in 2025. With this funding addition, it will allow the intersection to be built before the I-15 project and save the department work and minimize impact during the I-15 project. So located here on our map, intersection. Our request today is a motion to approve transferring scope and funding between the I-15 reconstruction, Farmington to Salt Lake City, and Parish Lane 400 West intersection Centerville projects as detailed.
I make motion for approval.
Second.
Thank you.
There's a motion and a second. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 8A-7 is approved. Thank you.
Our next item, 8A-8, is the I-80 eastbound auxiliary lane and SR 136 northbound lane. It's a funding addition from a transportation investment fund. The scope of this project is to add an auxiliary lane eastbound I-80 from Lake Point to SR 201 and add travel lane northbound from Stansbury Park to I-80. The original project concept was developed in 2021, focused primarily on the pavement component of the additional third lane, and did not account for all required roadway elements. In addition, several roadway features have been installed that will have to be relocated in order to add a third lane. The additional funds are for a new drainage pipe, eastbound and westbound on I-80, additional drainage systems to prevent flooding, 3 overhead cantilever signs, I believe they say, "Thanks Commissioner Kramer," and relocate VMS on SR 36. I'm joking about what it's going to say, but it might.
You've got my motion on this.
Thank you. Extra shoulder width to improve sight distance on eastbound I-80, reconfiguration of signalized intersections, and the increase of pavement costs. Located here on our map. Our request today is a motion to approve adding funding to the I-80 eastbound auxiliary lane and SR 36 northbound lane project as detailed.
Mr. Chair, I'd make that motion.
Thank you.
I'd be happy to second, that's necessary indeed.
Okay, well, any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 8, 8-8 is approved.
Thank you. Our next item, 8A-9 in Immigration Canyon. There's 2 projects. The project will widen Immigration Canyon Road to include a bike lane in both directions going from 5655 to 9698 east. The project was approved by Wasatch Front Regional Council. A TIF active project was also has been approved in this location. These projects overlap scope and result in being able to be combined and funding adjustment. So you'll notice on the graphic, essentially we're going to be using the TIF active funding to match the Wasatch Front Regional Council funding, and then abandoning the second project that was approved. There will still be, you can see the $3.2 million from Wasatch Front Regional Council, just short of $3.1 million of TIF active, and then $140,000 from our local contribution. Located here on our map in Immigration Canyon. And our request today is a motion to approve abandoning the Immigration Canyon Road, Margothy to Pinecrest Canyon Road project as detailed.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Number 9, any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 8-9 is approved.
Thank you. 8A-10, the SR 71 at Lone Peak Parkway. This is a new project from our Transportation Solutions Program in coordination with Wasatch Front Regional Council. The scope of the SR 71 at Lone Peak Parkway project will widen the intersection to include dual left turns in both east-west directions and create an auxiliary lane westbound between I-15 southbound off-ramp to the Lone Peak Parkway. This project team will coordinate with Draper City's modification of Lone Peak Parkway on the south leg of this intersection. So located here on our map, I-15 123rd South. Our request today is a motion to add the SR 71 at Lone Peak Parkway project to the current STIP as detailed.
So moved.
Thank you.
Happy to second that.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. Item 8A-10 is approved.
Thank you. 8A-11, the SR 113 and River Road intersection in Midway. This is a scope and funding addition from our Transportation Solutions Program. The scope of the SR 113 and River Road intersection project in Midway is to install a new signal with widening. As the design progressed, it was discovered there were more utility impacts at this intersection than originally anticipated. Additionally, increases of right-of-way and excavation costs were determined. Located here on our map, our request today is a motion to add funding and scope to the SR 113 and River Road project as detailed.
Mr. Chair, I'd move for approval.
Thank you.
I'd second that.
A motion and a second.
Getting busier, busier.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 8A-11 is approved. Thank you.
Next item, 8A-12, is a US 6 and US 89 grade separation near Thistle. This is a new project from our Transportation Solutions program. The scope of the US 6 and US 89 grade separation project is to improve safety and reduce traffic delays by eliminating left turn conflicts with through traffic by grade separating the intersection. A concept study has been completed by UDOT Traffic and Safety and recommends an alternative that keeps US 6 at existing elevation with US 89 underpassing. The proposed funding will cover environmental, design, and potential pursuit of a federal discretionary grant opportunity in this area. The department anticipates returning to the commission at a future date for construction funding and/or authority. Located here on our map, US 6 and the intersection of 89. The potential design. And our request today is a motion to approve the Our motion today is to approve adding the US 6 and US 89 grade separation project to the current STIP as detailed.
So moved. It's a busy area.
It is.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes, please.
You stipulated right at the very first, or recommended that the funding come from which source? You're going so fast, I didn't catch.
I'm sorry. So we're taking this $5 million from our Transportation Solutions program.
Okay. And help me understand Transportation Solutions program. What are the funds usually used from that program?
So the Transportation Solutions program is used for a variety of reasons. Could be anything from culvert replacement. So usually it's for projects that do not have a dedicated funding source. So high volume roads addressing pavements, low volume roads that are addressing pavements. Our Transportation Solutions program is kind of a gap filler that we use to address needs that come up in a region.
Okay, thank you. I'll second that.
Thank you.
There's a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments?
Comment if I might. We got to do this. Just because I travel that road more often than I want to, but if there's not a wreck there, there's one close to it every day. And I think this is the solution to fix this program. So I wholeheartedly support it.
Thank you for the comments. With that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 8A-12 is approved.
Thank you. Our next item, 8A-11, is the Tabiona Valley Centennial Park Trail. This is a new project in our Recreational Trails program. The Division of Outdoor Recreation and the Federal Grants Volunteer Committee proposed the Tabby Valley Centennial Park Trail project be added to the 2024 Recreational Trails program. The project scope is to build a shared use path around the park for all users. As project from the 2022 and 2023 years have closed, funding is now available to be utilized for the next project on the list. So as a reminder to the commission, we approved the Recreational Trails program in June in Monticello. This would be adding this one project to that list.
I move for approval.
Thank you.
There's a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 8A-13 is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is our Region 4 project combination. We're located here. We see two different projects being combined. The individual projects have previously been approved through commission action. Project combinations are done to provide efficiencies in project delivery. So we'll be combining the I-70 Gooseberry Interchange Drainage System and the SR-18 St. George Boulevard to Main Street and SR-18 I-15 Frontage Road to Milepost 2.
Did you pass the number 14?
I do not have a number 14.
You didn't? Fiscal year 24 fiber update program. New projects?
I did not have that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I think there's a conflict between the annotated agenda you're working off of and the official agenda.
Okay.
Okay then.
Sorry. Is it?
All right, number 15, Region 4, okay combination.
On the printed one, yeah, but maybe saying the updated one didn't have that on. Yeah, I do.
Thank you. All right, going back to 8A14, which is the fiscal year 24 fiber optic program. It is the Zion Canyon Fiber Optic Project. This is a new program, or new project. This program is funded from the U.S. Treasury ARPA Broadband Capital Projects Funds. Similar to earlier when we discussed the Logan, or the fiber optics from UDOT station down to Garden City. In the fiscal year 2024 general legislative session, House Bill 3, $50 million was set aside for the UDOT middle mile fiber optic capital projects program. The scope of this project is to trench in fiber optic infrastructure as outlined in the mapping. This will enable local telecom companies to install last mile fiber optics from the middle mile fiber optics to service last mile connections. So in Zion Canyon, located here on our map, and I would like to propose that there's a motion needed for this, and our motion is to add, our request for a motion is to add the Zion Canyon Fiber Optics Project to the current STIP as detailed.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Any other questions?
Don't we typically do this already with every project that we do? Have this fiber optic capacity?
This we do
Not
not.
this kind, I don't know, I'm just curious.
Do you want to talk about this one?
No.
Sure.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 8A-14 is approved.
Thank you. Going back to 8A15 being the project combination discussed earlier. These individual projects have previously been approved through commission action. Project combinations are done to provide efficiencies and project delivery, and they are for information only. Moving now to 8B, the draft fiscal year 2025-2030 statewide transportation improvement program, or STIP, to be submitted to federal highways and federal transit for federal review and approval. The draft 2025-2030 statewide transportation improvement program has been prepared and summarized to reflect guidance and suggestions resulting from region priorities and the April Commission workshop. At the June 28, 2024 Commission meeting, approval was given to publish the draft STIP for public comment. Notice was given in local newspapers with information regarding how to comment. The draft STIP was also open for review and public comment from June 29th through August 3rd on the UDOT website. This website will also contain an electronic form for comment submittals. Comments were received regarding the STIP by the department and the MPOs. We included in the packet of materials, we have a comment summary that was received in coordination with the MPOs and UDOT. Utah collected 389 public comments during that period. The summary below shows the continued need for coordination and development of our transportation projects. So the comment solicitation period, after it was approved to be posted on the meeting held on June 28th, we've noticed it in those newspapers as well as conducted public outreach comments. UDOT and MPOs accepted comments in multiple formats, including an interactive map, an online comment form, email, and public open houses. The tip from each MPO will also be submitted to Federal Highway and Federal Transit as part of the STIP. In addition, there is an additional opportunity that we just wanted to highlight, that during project development, after projects are funded and going through the STIP, members of the public can comment on projects and engage with UDOT's region offices during project development. We heard about that earlier with Region 3's local area presentation. During construction and ongoing maintenance and operation. Online capabilities have made commenting more accessible to some populations. We are hearing from people who have never attended a public meeting, but they are able to participate from phone or computer using these online tools. In our experience at UDOT, we find that people are interested in engaging in the project development process and providing meaningful input to projects that affect their lives. A summary of the comments received. We received comments that included or that addressed traffic and infrastructure improvements. We received comments about the public transit enhancements, and these are summaries of those comments. We received comments about the Rio Grand plan. We had some comments concerned in opposition to the highway expansions, as well as environment and community impact, and then other transportation concerns. Overall, these comments submitted reflect a strong community desire for more access to public transit systems, the consideration of the Rio Grande Plan, and responsible management of highway expansions to create a more connected, environmentally friendly, and accessible to the community. Included in the packet are the 36 pages, I believe, of public comment. 37 pages. Okay.
36 is close.
You can see there's the way that it's formatted. We have the recipient, so whether it was UDOT or an MPO that collected it, the collection locations, some were collected from via an interactive map, an open house, or via email submittals. If it was directed specifically to a project, the project has been highlighted here, and then the comment that was received. So we have cash MPOs. Dixie MPO did not receive a public comment during their TIP advertising period. Mountain Land Association of Governments. And UDOT received comments from our email submission. And then the other comments, the majority of our comments came from Wasatch Front Regional Council, either their interactive map or their open houses.
The reason you didn't get anything from Dixie because we love UDOT unconditionally.
We do find that once the project is approved, that is by far the most public comment that we receive is people want to discuss that project. Our request today is a motion to approve submitting the draft fiscal year 2025 to 2030 STIP to Federal Highways, Federal Transit for federal review and approval.
I'd move for approval. Thanks, Heather. Thanks for sending out the updated version we could look at. And I'd move for approval to forward it on.
Thank you.
Second. Thank you. It's a good read. I read the 35 pages, I would have got tired. It's a good read, but don't read and drive at the same time, please.
Don't read and drive, yes.
All in favor of this particular motion, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item 8, dash B is approved. Thank you. I think you're done, Ivan, right?
I think I'm done. Do we?
Well done.
item later. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. Number 9, corridor preservation, and our dear friend Diana's coming forward to present it.
Hi, Commissioners. My name is Diana Lecca. Shelley Peterson and I do corridor preservation. Our director, Ross Crow, is not available, so he's asked me to present in his stead for you. So the first thing I wanted to bring forward, there's no motion, but just a discussion, our budget and obligations at the end of May showed a balance forward of $109,000 available, income of 1.255, and expenses of around $45,000. We settled on 2 properties, the Wendell property and the Giles and Whiting property that you folks had previously approved, and that leaves us with a fund balance of $107 million. And then we go into everything that you've approved so far. You'll see the only one that's really old, I guess we would say, is the America First Credit Union Park and Ride that we've been working directly with Region 2 and UTA on. We're getting close on that one, actually. It was an environmental requirement that was when Mountain View went through, and we're getting very close to finalizing that one. So right now, we have not quite 21 million obligated for a fund balance of 86 million, and then I'm going to bring forward a number of transactions for you, some fairly large ones that brings our total request to 32,103,000 that we'll be presenting in the next few minutes, and that, if everything was approved, would leave us with a fund balance at this time of 54 million, not quite 55. Tracking of funding, you can see, for the most part, other than those interest rates going up, things have kind of tracked as they have with our rental car revenue and property management income. And then we get into our first transaction we'll bring before you, which is agenda item 9A. This is a request from the Bracken family along US 6. US 6 and Canyon Road, which as we get into the maps, we can show you, meet at an odd angle, and they're going to realign 198 to US 6, so it's at a 90-degree angle and creates better sight distance and safety. It is a fairly small project, so we don't have our typical CAMSI that shows the entire project, but the impacted parcel is shown in blue, and it's going to lose access and be impacted by the cul-de-sac that you can see here in just a second, located down in Spanish Fork, heading up towards Spanish Fork Canyon, and it's this property right here shown in blue, and on the right, and I apologize, it's kind of hard to read, but you can see the realignment of right here is where they're going to come across US 6 instead of doing this over here on the right. And as we zoom out, we can't zoom out a little bit because it's a small project, I apologize. So the motion we're bringing before you is an obligation of the Marta Del Rey Corridor Preservation Revolving Loans Fund as presented.
So moved for approval. Thank you. I'll second. There's a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item number 9A is approved.
Thank you, Commissioners. The next one we're going to bring before you is item 9B. This is the Evans family and CUVA. They jointly own the property. This is actually a vet practice. The property is located in Payson, Utah, and it's going to be the improvement and build of the Payson interchange on I-15. The total price cost we're bringing before you is a little over $4 million with a a little over $3.9 million with a not to exceed of $4 million. And I'll show you on the maps here what we're doing in that area. Of course, located in Payson, which is just down in the central part of the state. And you can see the impact of that project right over the top of this practice. Important to note, we are allowing the veterinary practice there to lease the property back for a few months so that he can slowly wind down his practice and continue to serve the people in the area until they can find another veterinarian out in that area. That's very important. So here's the new interchange that will be going in there across I-15. and the impact you can see to the property. And then as we move down, you can see how it impacts there along I-15. So our motion to approve would be an obligation of the Marta Del Rey Corridor Preservation Revolving Loan Fund as presented.
I'd move for approval.
Thank you.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments?
This is just a prime example of how important the corridor preservation fund is. There's no way this can be done without it, so there's an awful lot of work. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you, commissioners. I'll move on to the next
No,
one.
no, no. All in favor of this project, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number B is approved. Thank you.
My apologies, I went a little too
Thank you.
fast. Item 9C we're bringing before you is for the Frady family. This is located along West Davis Corridor, which is now SR 177. We're moving up into Weber County, so we maybe can't call it West Davis Corridor any longer. It's on 1800 North in West Point. It's a family property of approximately 4.3 acres. And with the improvements, the total appraised value is $945,000. Adding in a little bit of contingency just in case, we are requesting a not to exceed of $973,968. Shown here on the map, up around between Salt Lake and Ogden there. And this is the property. Now, you can't see a direct impact there, but because of the interchange coming off of SR 173 and people exiting onto 1800 North, we're eliminating the access for these folks. So that's one reason to purchase. The other reason to purchase is it may be necessary for active transportation or hydrology. So the request is, and zoomed out a bit, you can see that impact right there along the future SR 177. So our motion to approve today would be obligation of the Marta Del Rey Corridor Preservation Revolving Loan Fund as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Please.
You referred to West Point, Davis County, the agenda I have says West Haven. So I suppose it is Davis County, and it is Davis County, 18, and it would be Davis County.
It is Davis County.
Not Weaver.
No,
Okay.
but West Davis Corridor that we're calling West Davis Corridor is now starting to
Right.
be developed into Weber County. So what exactly do we refer to
The
it?
one in West Point, future, you may have something in West Haven, but, right?
Yes, and I apologize if the agenda is
No, that's
off.
fine. I just want to make sure that it's in West.
Yes, it is this property here.
Well, thank you for the observation. All in favor of this project, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 9C is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. Moving into the next one, which is item 9D. This is the same area, SR 177, which is West Haven. So I'm sorry a little bit on that, but this is property owned by the Weber School District. It's a total of 4.56 acres, but roughly 8 individual tax parcels of vacant land. The property will be used for the next phase of SR 177. That 4.56 acres appraised for roughly $9 a square foot or 1.838, with a not to exceed that we're requesting today of 1.893. And it's located again along the future SR 177. And you can tell that we obviously need it since the impact is showing going across all of the parcels. And this is the location here. So our request today would be an approval of the obligation of the Marta Del Rey Corridor Preservation Revolving Loan Fund as presented.
Move approval.
Thank you.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments?
May I just say, I've never had more praise about it since the Davis Corridor. That has really been a popular one, so all the more reason for corridor preservation doing its work.
Yes, if you haven't had an opportunity to drive the road that's been built so far, it's really a lovely project. So the next one we're bringing before, oh, sorry again.
I know you're anxious to get your money. All in favor of this number B, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 9B is approved, thank you. Please proceed.
So excited to bring you
I
things.
know.
The one we're presenting right now is item 9E. This property is owned by Granite Creek LLC up in Cottonwood Heights in Salt Lake County. And this is kind of a unique one. It's a large property, 7.16 acres. It is zoned single-family residential, and they were in the process of subdividing and turning that into individual building lots. When we came along and did this corridor preservation acquisition with them and started that process. The appraised value, given the area, is a little over $5 million, or roughly $38 a square foot, with a small contingency to allow for, some changes there. We're asking for approval of $5.17 million on this one. And let me show you where this is located. It's up towards Little and Big Cottonwood Canyon. It's part of the transportation solutions that are being discussed for up in that area. And frankly, finding vacant land up in that area is unique, so we felt it important to bring that forward to you. So here's the 7.135 acres that we're looking to purchase. So our request today would be, let me zoom out a bit so you can kind of see where that's located up against the mountains. And then our request today would be approval of the obligation of the Martindale Reed Corridor Preservation Revolving Loan Fund as presented.
I move for approval. That's expensive land. It's only going to get more expensive.
Second, yeah, that's important land.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 9 is approved.
And you're right, Rhonda, as those would be billed out as they're subdivided, that would have been a much more expensive purchase for us in the future. So this is why corridor is important. The very last one I'm bringing before you is item 9F. This one again is a little bit unique. This is working in coordination with transit for land that was owned by formerly IPP, now referred to as IPA. They own the Plower plant in Delta. They're headquartered up in South Jordan. But the area that we're looking at is a commercial property that is owned in Payson that would be for the Front Runner expansion, if we were able to purchase that. It is a little bit complicated in that there are some procedural issues and things that need to be addressed as we're negotiating, but we felt it important to obligate the funding and hold it aside so that it was available once we can get through all of those hurdles. If you recall, Senate Bill 02 and Senate Bill 03 back in 2023 gave us an additional $60 million for corridor preservation, but they did not necessarily earmark, but did specify they would like us to focus on Front Runner expansion from Provo to Springville, so this would fulfill that requirement. It's 3 acres with a very large building that's about 43 acres total, but 3 acres is just the building and rail facilities. The acquisition has been approved or appraised at 18.045, and we would ask for a small contingency to bring us to 18.586. So it's located here in our state, and then located here in the community. You can see that very long corridor of rail, plus where the bobs out a little bit there is the building. And this is a close-up of the building and the rail facilities right there. So again, our motion to approval for the obligation of the Martindale Reed Corridor Preservation Revolving Loan Fund as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it. This is unusual.
There's a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 10, high priority corridor resolution, and Ivan Hart is coming back to present that.
Morning again. Our next item, item number 10, is for the High Priority Corridor Resolution Program. The Utah Transportation Code 725402 states that the planning and preservation of transportation corridors is a public purpose. Further, Utah Transportation Code 725403 directs the Utah Transportation Commission to designate transportation corridors as high priority transportation corridors for transportation corridor preservation purposes. That's a tongue twister. The UTC 0105 policy states that the Utah Transportation Commission, through resolution, shall amend, add, or remove designated high priority transportation corridors. The resolution shall include recommendations identified by the Utah Department of Transportation for amendment, addition, or removal from the list of designated high priority transportation corridors, as well as a current list of UTC approved high priority transportation corridors. A copy of the approved resolution shall be sent to counties and municipalities in which the high priority transportation corridors are designated. The department identified potential modifications to the high priority corridor list. The list of proposed changes are attached. The department proposed changes in the June 28, 2024 Utah Transportation Commission meeting and is now presenting the list for approval. So included is in our packet is the resolution to amend the high priority corridors, as well as the add, which will be to add the front runner from Brigham City to Payson, going through Box Elder, Weber, Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties, as well as the municipalities that it'll be going through. So our request today is a motion to approve the high priority corridor resolution as detailed.
I'd make a motion that we approve this list before us here and this resolution.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 10 is approved. Thank you, Ivan.
Thank you.
Item number 11 in your agenda is administrative rule review, and our dear friend, Mayor Elder, is coming to present it. And he's so anxious to do that.
My name's Leif Felder. I'm the Director of Policy and Legislative Affairs for UDOT. Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, always a pleasure to be with you. I have 6 rules to present to you today. The first 5 are department rules, so they're for awareness and comments if you have any. And then the last rule is a commission rule. So of course you have the right of approval on that. And okay, so I'll start with item 11A, records access. This rule, we're proposing that it be deleted. What it does is provides information for those making a government records access management request or a GRAMA request. And the rule is not required, and it's become a little bit antiquated to have the rule. It provides addresses and things for folks to be able to make that request. We have a really fantastic grandma request portal and a website that provides great information, all the information in this rule. And it's just a much better landing spot for a grandma request than this rule. So we're planning to delete this rule. And you can see down here, it has the rule, and again, it's just basically addresses that we're deleting there. So not a lot to it, but I think it's a good move and will actually be better for the public, and we want to make sure and serve them well, especially if they want to make a request. So I think this does that. Any?
We need a motion on that.
We do not need a motion. This is a department rule, so it's just up for awareness and review for the commission. And again, happy to hear any comments that you have. So I'll move to 11B. This is legal weight limitations. So this is one of our motor carrier rules. The R909-2 outlines procedures and requirements for the size and weight of motor carriers. One provision in this rule allows for a weight exception if the weight is attributed to a natural gas fuel system. Okay, so some of those tanks are heavy, and so it's exempted from the weight. This would expand that exemption to electric vehicle equipment. The batteries and such would be exempt from those weight requirements. We were approached, Carlos and I were approached about this during the session from a electric vehicle manufacturer and asked for this. We checked with the federal guidelines, and that seems to be consistent with something that we can do. So we're going to go ahead and make that change. I think it's good for the industry. So. Okay. If there are no comments, I'll continue and move to the next. Let's see. Hopefully I've navigated this. Oh, my. Here we go. Thank you, Carlos. Keep me on the straight and narrow here. Yeah, this is a bit of a long rule. Just a little preview for next month. We hope to bring this rule again next month for some additional changes. We just couldn't quite get them done, and we had committed to make the changes to that electric vehicle piece quickly, so we're moving forward with that. So the next item, 11C, this is R909-15, the non-consent towing storage fee. There are two changes in this rule. One of them should be familiar because we brought it to you last year, and when we sent it to the Office of Administrative Rules, somehow the change had dropped out after we had gone through all the process, and so we're adding that in here. But I'll tell you quickly, so I'm going to scroll down to the changes because I think it's a little easier to see. This first change we're making for the Department of, at the request of the Department of Public Safety, we last year also made a change to this rule that said, hey, the county in which you tow a vehicle from is also the county where it has to be stored. And that didn't jive very well with the Department of Public Safety has a dispatch tow rotation. And there's a few places in the state, for example, Weber and Morgan County are in the same tow rotation dispatch thing. And so it didn't work to have this rule so specific that you have to store it in the county from where it is towed, because there's a few instances where there might be a car towed in Weber County and it would be stored very close by in Morgan County and vice versa. And so we made an exception to that having to be towed in the same county rule to be expanded to a tow rotation boundary. And those, again, they're not large, so large that people are, I don't think, going to be upset about that. So we've made that change to help the Department of Public Safety be able to continue using their tow rotation boundaries. So any questions on, it looked like there might be a question on that. The other change in this rule is simply indexing the storage fees to inflation. All of the other tow fees are already indexed to inflation, and I don't know, it could have been an oversight 3 or 4 years ago when they indexed those fees, but we're going to go ahead and put that so that it's, I've messed up here, clicked on something I should have, but we're going to go ahead and use those. Am I on the right one? Yeah, we're going to go ahead and index those storage fees, and that particular change, as well as the one I spoke of about the towing rotation list and where the vehicles are stored, these have been reviewed by the Towing Advisory Board, which advises the department on these rules as well as other towing issues. So,
A question.
Yes.
Towing fees and storage fees. Of course, there's 2 separate fees and 2 separate entities also involved. Are they uniform throughout the state, or each county has its own fees? And
yeah, those are uniform throughout the state, at least the ones that, excuse me, there are towing fees that by statute UDOT is required to set. And so those would be uniform across the state, and that includes the storage fees, yes.
Thank you.
Great question. All right, 11D, this is a great proposal because it deletes a rule, takes away some of the mounds of statute and regulation that we have, and it's needed. So the share the road bicycle support restricted account rule, that is no longer needed because the share the road license plate is no longer being issued. And the reason for that is the legislature had a provision on the books that said, hey, if your license plate, your special group license plates fall below a certain threshold of being issued, then we're not going to issue them anymore. I think they do that because there's a cost to storing and having all those plates on hand, and so when they become less popular. Commissioner Van Tassel knows a little bit about special group license plates. Used to chair the committee that where these proposals came to. So, but we've already done all the things necessary. We've distributed all of the money from the contributions from the plates, and the account is closed. We just need to now repeal the rule. So, okay, and looks like item 11E, the last of the department rules. So scenic byway program. This rule just provides procedures for UDOT to administer this program, and the legislature made a change during the session, SB 28, which requires proposals for state scenic byways to be approved by the legislature. It was previously approved by the Scenic Byway Committee. And so we just went through the rule and made it clear that that's what is to happen, that those proposals for a new state scenic byway would go to the legislature, or a repeal of a state scenic byway. And so we've gone through and done that, and along the way, just made some changes to harmonize the rule with the rule writing manual. We have an executive order that came out a couple of years back that said, hey, let's make sure and follow this manual and the way we write rules, so we've made some changes there. And then I also made some, just some clarifying changes to help the rule be just a little more clear, read a little bit better. So they're not supposed to be substantive, just matters of clarity. So. If there's no questions on the department rule, I'll jump into the commission rule. So again, this is your rule, and so we'll need your approval on anything that we do with it. And so this particular rule is pretty simple. It provides a definition for regionally, an airport of regional significance. And that particular term is used in the tax code. And this rule came about, it's probably been about 10, 15 years. And the legislature asked the commission to define that for them as it pertains to the tax code. And I think it's local option sales taxes is where it was used. So the legislature has now put that definition into the statute, and this requirement to have this rule is no longer there. So we're proposing that the rule be deleted because the legislature isn't asking you to do it anymore, and there's really no purpose for the rule. So I have the whole rule there just on the fact sheet, so you can see that. And I believe we were going to go ahead and ask for approval today rather than do 2 meetings. Usually when we bring a commission rule to you, we do 2 meetings. This one's fairly simple because it's just because of a legislative change. So I put the X in the wrong spot there under review only, but it should be for commission approval. And the motion would be to move to repeal Administrative Rule R940-4 and approve the department forwarding the rule change to the Office of Administrative Rules for further consideration. So,
Mr. Chairman, I'd make that.
Thank you.
And I'd
Motion.
second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Item number 11 is 11-F is approved. Thank you.
well, thank you. That's all I have. I'm happy to talk. We have about 69 other rules I haven't talked about. I'd be happy to talk about any one of those if you'd like.
Next time.
Okay. All right.
And then on.
Thanks very much.
Item number 12 is the information items, and that is the commission reports from the activities and committees they report. So Commissioner Gardner, do you have any reports you want to share?
I do not. I do want to say that I'll make sure that I'm at the Garden City meeting.
Okay. We'll see you there. Commissioner Enloff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Obviously, you can see we've been busy with corridor preservation, and want to compliment the staff for their preparation and the excellent meetings. I'm sure Commissioner Kramer feels the same way. Also, the CMPO, I've been attending their meetings, and they're doing a nice job preparing for their responsibilities in the Cache Valley area and moving forward with the planning there to accommodate growth and change. Thank you.
Commissioner.
We know the ice cream is waiting, so this will be quick, but certainly Ross, Shelley, Diana have been a wonderful job on corridor preservation. You saw those numbers. That's the highest that amount has ever been there, and we're spending it smart as the prices go up. Just on a personal note, I should mention I will be in Garden City as well, but it will be my last meeting as commissioner because my wife and I received a senior assignment from our church to go to London for 2 years, starting in end of November, to meet with diplomats and public affairs and government things. But this is just, I'll say more words I hope next time about how much I've enjoyed this. The main theme is just give Carlos the money, we can get it done. So, thanks so much.
Thank you. Commissioner Evans?
No, just you've seen most of the stuff being here that I work with Rob and Eric every month at the MPO, and Matt Land's been great to work with in support of America Foods. He's actually the chair of that group, and we just have great participation every month, so I'm grateful to be part of that.
Commissioner Nelson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To the young man that addressed us earlier on the thing, I did get a text from Mr. Gruber up at the Wasatch Council. They are aware of it, and it is starting through the process. So get with Salt Lake County and work it through, and then we'll eventually see it. But that's kind of the process. That there's so many things going on up there in Salt Lake County. They're kind of the screening board and work things through with all of the entities in Salt Lake County. So just so you'll know, thanks for being here and having an interest. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Neely?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had the opportunity for the first time with the Wasatch Front Regional Council yesterday in the Regional Growth Committee. It was a great meeting. They were looking futuristic, which I thought was a good thing. And as stated earlier today, they talked about several of the things that we need to do, really into the corridor preservation and things as we move forward in the coming years. We talked for a few minutes about the Olympics and things that may or may not happen there, and making sure that we start now to address those things with the Olympic Committee rather than wait a few years and be struggling for funding, as well as trying to fit it into the program to get it done for the 2034 Olympics. They also approved Amendment 2 to the Regional Transportation Plan in their meeting also yesterday, so I think they're moving forward. Good meetings, I'll be happy to serve there. Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Thank you. Community Impact Board and Dixie Transportation Executive Council did not have a meeting for July, so I was kind of taking vacation on those 2 meetings. But I would like to make a comment actually on the Region 2 and congratulations on their annual employment or employee appreciation luncheon. Those 24-ounce cowboy cut steaks, they look good. I saw the pictures, but I smelled it through this all the way to St. George. So thank you for such a wonderful job. And also would like to thank Ann Ogden from Region 4. She's the traffic and safety engineer. She's worked with the local governments, universities, and the transit district to implement in collaboration, safety, and innovation way to even save more lives. And thank you for all other regions for doing such a fantastic job. I just love the way to see you guys work together and play good together in the sandbox. It's beautiful. It's only in Utah can happen, and only in UDOT. Thank you for all you do. On behalf of our commission, I would like to say that we love you and appreciate you, mostly your families, with sharing you with us and giving the opportunity to do such a fantastic job. This is a beautiful place to live and share our opportunities with you. Whatever we can do as a commission, please don't be shy. Our numbers are posted. We are not shying away from talking to you, the public or individuals from each region. Commissioners, mayors, city council members, public, we are here to help. We are your friends. Please consider us friends and approach us, whatever you have to say. And be patient. We will deliver it eventually. Thank you. Commissioners, next meeting is in Garden City. Raspberry Shakes is waiting. So prepare yourself for September 26th and 27th. Any other comments?
I'm just glad we'll all be able to celebrate Lou's service, and I'll pitch in to buy him a raspberry shake.
Okay.
As long as you sing a song.
You know, Lou, there might be something already in the works, so we'll see.
my comment, and I guess I'll have to pitch in and help you, Mike. They are a little expensive.
They are, we're gonna have to give them a buck just about.
Any more comments, Carlos, from you? Lisa, Ben, region directors, anyone? If not, don't forget the invitation from Mayor Profusi upstairs on the 5th floor. Those of you with brave in hearts, there's 85 stairs to climb. If you don't want to, the elevator goes to the 5th floor. So see you there. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.